officer for the Chatsworth and the Porter Ranch area. I took the Chatsworth and Porter Ranch area over in August of last year because of the retirement of our long vested senior lead officer, Danny DeValier. So I have some big shoes to fill, and so basically I jumped into this fight with a lot on my plate. So I know everyone is here for one reason. A large majority of the reason, I should say, is the Chatsworth train station. So I'll give you like a timeline of everything that I've dealt with since I've been in this position. So as I said, August 1st I took over of last year. Not too long afterwards, I created a project, and I started working that project about mid-August. And my ultimate goal was to clean up the Chatsworth train station and all the issues and concerns directly associated with the individuals experiencing homelessness there. And it seemed like I was the only one on board with trying to address those issues. So right around mid-November to early December, I had a meeting with our Councilman John Lee, and we included the city attorney's office with that meeting. And that's when we reached out to LA County Supervisor's Office and asked for their assistance with the problem-solving issue which we have at the Chatsworth train station. Around that time is when basically we got, around the first of this year is when we had a majority of the resources in place to do what we can to try to address the issues concerning everything at the Chatsworth train station. The supervisor's office has been, ever since Lindsay Horvath came into office, she's been more than willing and provided her team's assistance to us, and basically got the ball rolling for us, because I was the only one who seemed like it was held accountable for when something went sideways at the train station. John Lee didn't like the fact that there are several entities involved and needed to have everyone involved, because there's basically 3 separate jurisdictions there that are involved, and everyone needs to be a partner in resolving the problem. So once the Supervisor Horvath's office got involved, we had, this thing just spiraled out of control in a positive way. We got the LA Metro involved, everyone, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and that was the first time that they became involved, is when the county supervisor got involved. And that really helped the whole progress of what we got going. So the whole goal for our team, our problem-solving team, is to get everyone who calls the Chatsworth train station home, who is experiencing homelessness, to get them in some sort of placement off the property. So the city, the county is involved. I can't go into the specifics of what's going on. It has nothing to do with the sign going up Memorial Weekend, because this whole process started last year. And we have all the city resources involved in order to get what we needed to make the proper changes and get everyone who calls that place home into housing. So there's a lot of people that I can thank and involve that are actually here. John Lee's office, Supervisor Horvath's office representatives are here as well. So we have everyone in place, which we need in order to get this resolved. It's going to take time, because just look at the city. The whole city is a huge problem, and our LA Metro system is a large majority of the problems as well. So we are doing what we can. We have everyone we need. We just now, I'm just saying, that the Memorial Weekend sign that went up, it highlights and expresses your frustrations. So that kind of communicated that to our local leaders, and got the publicity which we needed in order to help us through over this little speed bump which we have. So I appreciate everyone's assistance in our community as well. I'm going to leave all my information up here. I have a basic car meeting coming up at the end of this month. I highly recommend, if you want to know and keep updated with what's going on at the train station. I have the ability to give you a significant PowerPoint, and it'll highlight you the issues, the problems during the daytime, during the nighttime, and basically make you well aware and updated with what's currently going on. So I'll leave all that information up here, and without taking too much more time, questions, concerns, or issues. Sir?
The problem is difficult to solve right now. How do we prevent it from getting worse?
Right now, we have all the strategies in place in order to make the necessary changes for the train station. That way they do not reoccur again once we get everything resolved. So the problem on all the metro stations and the whole LA County and the city is a huge problem. You know, luckily we've had, you know, situations which haven't been turned fatal here that could possibly change. But a large majority of our issues and concerns have to do with illegal narcotics, individuals experiencing mental illness, on top of the fact that they're homeless. And so their changes and the strategies are in place. We just need our local leaders to get over that hump. That way we can proceed with what we have already planned. So, yes, ma'am.
So last month we were here and the Metro security contract expired. Do we have Metro security now at the train station?
There was a security team at the Chatsworth train station, which is contracted by the city of Los Angeles. During our meetings, it was brought to the attention of the local leaders that the security company wasn't doing what they were asked to do. Every time that I went there, I had security sitting in the train station lobby. That's not what they're there for. They're there to make sure that when you park your car, you go to the train or the bus, you feel safe. You see some sort of security. So that was the reason why the changes were made. We now have a security team there at the train station now. They're staffed there a little bit longer than what was contracted before. So those changes are in place. And and I'm very happy with the fact that they made their changes and they're doing exactly what our community wants them to do. So, sir, in the back,
Yeah, this is all unacceptable. The heck with the train station. You got 3,000 of them everywhere else. And summer's coming. And when summer comes, they come from Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Colorado. They come from all those states. And they put their crap all over the street. And I know our trash companies have to pick it up, because I notice about once a week it gets picked up, then they put it out there again. By the way, officer, these people aren't going to a homeless shelter. They're not going to a room. You couldn't put them in a room, because they won't listen to anything you tell them to do. Any rule you give them, they're not following.
your question for me, sir?
I'm just saying, I know we got this hotel over here, we're gonna put them in there, watch what happens. It's not gonna be a pretty sight.
Okay.
Okay, I'm born and raised here, I was on this council, and god dang it, guys, what the hell happened, you know?
So let me explain to you what happened.
I'm not done.
I'll answer your question.
I'm not done. We've got 4118, or this code. The Blumenthal used it over at the Marriott a couple of weeks ago, at 9-5 vote, the council voted for it, and he was able to clean it up. You cannot camp on the street. A sidewalk is defined as a sidewalk. A street is for cars. You can't live on it. Come on, we all know this. I learned this when I was 3. And you allow it, and you allow it, and you allow it, and it gets to the point where you throw your hands up and go, well, not my backyard. Come on. Our industry, I couldn't live, Jesus Christ, my son had to move out of this place. Because he couldn't send his kids to LAUSD. He had to go to Temecula, thank God. Now I miss my grandchildren.
Excuse me, you have a question?
Yeah, my question is, what are you gonna do about it?
They're doing, you've already been explained to you what they're doing, you already know.
Yeah, I don't
who's
like
this-
it.
Okay?
So
Bad answer.
I'll expand on that, sir. I understand your
What's
frustration.
Johnny's power?
I
What power
understand
does
your
Johnny
frustration.
hold?
Just let me respond,
Thank you,
okay?
thank you.
So the problem started way back, and I'm looking at my notes because, you know, I don't recall all of this, but in 2008 election, Measure R was passed by a 2/3 vote by all of LA County voters. So So what that did is it provided funding for the projects of the LA Metro system. And the first project which was done by LA Metro was the expansion of the Orange Line from the Canoga station to the Chatsworth station, okay? So once they completed it at an expense of $154 million, the Chatsworth station was opened June 30th of 2012. So ever since then, the train station issues have been out of control, to say the least, okay? So let me give you an outline of the metro system. The metro system starts in downtown. You know, the red line is a train station which ends in North Hollywood. The riders go upstairs, and that's where the orange line starts. The ridership jumps on the buses, takes it, and ends in Chatsworth Station. So every time the bus enters into the Chatsworth train station, all the ridership is forced off the bus, meaning every person that is on that bus is forced into the Chatsworth train station. So that's the reason why the homeless issues have been brought here to Chatsworth. You know, so that's the reason why the issue is here. It's not just the Chatsworth train station. It's all over the city of Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles. So just to let you know, I ran the crime statistics for the Chatsworth train station this year. So January 1, and I did it until the 5th month of, midway through the 5th month of this year. There have been 12 reported crimes at the Chatsworth train station, 27 arrests, which have to do specifically with the 4118, sir, of people camping or storing property near the daycare center at the Chatsworth train station. So LAPD is doing our part and enforcing the rules on the books, which have to do with the problems that the train station is really experiencing. The one thing I want to point out to you, that every time that someone doesn't get off the bus, they call the Metro, LA Metro calls 911. LAPD responds to those 911 calls to make sure that the riders get off the bus and the bus can be taken out of service. 227 calls for service, meaning 911 calls have been directed to LAPD, and Devonshire officers have been dispatched to handle a problem at the train station. So it's a significant problem when your police department is significantly understaffed. Devonshire Division is 54 officers down, meaning that's a whole shift for LAPD Devonshire. So we could have 54 more officers, but that's just the whole problem across the city of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Police Department. So there's a lot of issues and concerns, but I can tell you that much, that we are doing our part. And a large majority of that part is because of our councilman. Councilman John Lee this past year provided well over $400,000 in funds to Devonshire Division. And how those funds were spent were on bringing in officers on an overtime basis and directing them into the problems and concerns which are affecting our community. So our councilman is throwing anything and everything at the problem. And we've run task force, crime suppression details, and a large majority of it is around the train station and all over Devonshire. So anytime you see multiple police cars all around a certain problem, that's your taxpaying dollars by John Lee's office on the overtime details which we are running. So that's one of the way and the simple solutions which John Lee is doing in order to bring the police presence ×2, because we're bringing people in on an overtime basis. So that's helped our cause. The issues, not just in Chatsworth, but Devonshire and Balboa, Devonshire and the 405 freeway, those issues are there. And there's not just all of Devonshire Division, but Councilman Lee is really involved with addressing the issues and concerns with everything, which is on the streets of Devonshire. A large majority of the focus is on the 4118s, and as what I heard last week is we are this year to date, we're already in the 6th month of the year. We're well over 300 arrests for 4118, but it leads the city of Los Angeles. That's because of our councilman. So, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Very one to answer this, very simple. Watching the tent cities and the homeless on Skid Row and Venice, how would you deal with, the homeless that have the encampment and won't physically move? Are you allowed to physically move them after you claim their material? I mean, is there a law, or can you touch them? I mean, how do you get them to move?
So in regards to,
If they don't wanna go
this
to
whole
the
problem,
housing?
just to let you know,
Yeah.
and what you're asking, is can the police department, make someone who's in an encampment move? No.
Physically move?
Okay, so they have constitutional rights, we're in America, everyone has constitutional rights. It's against the law for, me to violate someone's rights.
Can't touch
But there's rules and regulations which hold everyone accountable, including the people experiencing homelessness. They have to have 36 inches on the sidewalks of clearance, so if I'm in a wheelchair, have to be able to ride my wheelchair down the sidewalk. If they're in violation of that, that's where the 4118 laws come into play. So, yes, they're held accountable. Can I arrest them for that? No, it's just like getting a speeding ticket. If you get multiple, then it could be filed as a misdemeanor, and that's what we're doing now. Once we do, we have the city attorney's office on board with our problem solving team. So if we get multiple violations, they're considered misdemeanors. We file those as misdemeanors, and the key there is once the case is all over, stay away orders are issued by the judge,
Okay.
which prevent them from coming back to the Chatsworth train station. So that's some of the things, the big picture items which we're doing.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that include the loitering? Because there's laws about loitering and these guys are
There is.
sitting everywhere.
Yeah, loitering is found private property, and loitering is a section on the books. But just because it's on the books doesn't mean I can take them away and take them to jail and remove all our property. That's
Well, I'm
not
saying
something we don't
remove all
do.
their property, but you used to be able to ask them to leave and they'd have to go.
I can ask anyone to leave.
But they
Once
have
they
to
challenge,
go.
it is a different time nowadays. Everyone knows the rules. It seems like everyone's a lawyer. And if we ask individuals to move and they know their rights, they're gonna tell us no, and there's nothing the police department can do about that.
But isn't that the law? Loitering is a law. You're not allowed to stay somewhere.
You're right, I write you a ticket, and you go to court, and the court system is about 13 months behind. So they just recently invoked the zero bail again, so when I arrest someone, they can take them to jail, they fingerprint them, take their picture, and they let them out. So that was the COVID things that were in place during COVID. I believe it had something to do with some court order by the county attorney's office, which started that again in the city of Los Angeles. So only major crimes are being held in jail now. In the very, very back.
I just wanted to express my appreciation for everything that you guys have been doing, and I think that I really appreciate the way that you guys are approaching this issue. I know it's obviously multifaceted and systemic, and evidently you guys cannot be responsible for the whole of these issues that are much beyond the scope of Chatsworth itself. I also wanted to, beyond expressing my appreciation, wanted to ask a question about the bus system and like the public transport system. Has there been, I know obviously we talked about the train station, has there been any moves to potentially improve a similar issue on the buses, especially in Chatsworth? I know they're quite not as functional for everybody, but for those of us that would like the option, it'd be nice to use them.
Yeah, so currently, LA Metrolink, the trains that are above ground, I should say, are LA Metro contracts with the Sheriff's Department to provide security on the trains and the train pathways, but they don't step off the train at the Chatsworth train station. LAPD is contracted by LA Metro to provide the security for all the buses, including the Orange Line, and also the underground train system. So the LAPD is responsible for that, so that's why we're such a big presence, even though the Chatsworth train station falls within our jurisdiction, because we have the primary response for public safety there initially. But we also provide extra resources for the buses. But the Metrolink is looking to, and the LA Metro is looking to ways they can increase law enforcement presence. They're thinking outside, they have their ways of doing stuff. I can't answer you what's going on with that. But I can tell you what we do is, Devonshire provides a presence. We handle all the radio calls for the train station. Los Angeles Police Department Transit Services Division provides the security on the buses and also the platforms at the bus as well. So everyone thinks that the train station is owned by LA County, majority of it. That's not true. I believe it's about 90% of it is owned by the city of Los Angeles. So LA County has a little portion along the vet center, along the LA County Wash as well. So but the large majority of it is owned by the city of Los Angeles. So that's one of the things that we had to try to decipher, and we still lingering of who handles what and actually what. But if our problem solving team does everything as we want it to do, we're not going to have any issues. So fingers and toes are crossed that we don't have any more issues. So in the back, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, so you explained that we're waiting on leadership to make or do anything that they need to do. So recently, when this issue started coming up on, I believe it was the Beverly Hills city limits, it seems that they moved quite quickly when it's affecting some sort of affluent neighborhood. But we're over here kind of stuck with, okay, we just wait it out.
I agree with you.
Can you give us a timeline as to when I can see a resolution that you're talking about?
I can't provide you with a timeline or when and what. All I can tell you is it's taken a long time for us to get to this point now. I told you when we started. When I saw that, I was like, what about us? We have some issues too.
Last question, Kamesh.
Sir, go ahead.
Your earlier response to some of the questions, you said the Constitution, laws of the United States and all those things. What about the previous sheriff? Not his area, although, he went and cleaned up all that, Venice area. How did he do that?
I don't know. All I can tell you, and maybe this will explain how it's worked, is the sheriff's department is an elected official who does everything what he needs to do, and it's his campaign, and it's his job. My boss, Chief Michael Moore, is appointed by the mayor of Los Angeles. So without sugarcoating it, he does what the mayor asks him to do. So if we have the right mayor in office, a lot of our problems could be resolved. So, but you see the problems are starting to get resolved. So before we didn't have that. Now we're starting to have some movement and stuff being done. So the current mayor has a plan, and it seems to be working, not as fast as we want though. So I'm a resident of this area as well, so I'm here with you. My children go to school here. I shop here as well. I enjoy the restaurants around here, and I know the impact that has on that intersection. And I deal directly with the Ralphs and all the local businesses there and how it's impacted them. So we're trying not to just push the problem from the train station onto Devonshire Street. So we think we have a problem now. If we pushed it off the property and it would be at Devonshire and Canoga, we would have a real huge problem. And that's one of the first things that the county supervisor's office, John Lee, is trying not to do. So we could push it, but we're going to push it right into your neighborhood, and that's not what we want to do. It was done about 4 months ago out of 118 in Gothic, where LA County came in and cleaned the wash and pushed that whole encampment into the community, and we had encampments right next to $1 million homes. So that's not what we're trying to do. So that's one of the goals that the whole team is trying not to do. So maybe that's the reason why it's taking a little more time to get our, meet our goals. So, sure.
Thank you very much.